All righty. What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. How's everybody doing? Hopefully you guys had a good holiday for those of you guys in the US. And yeah, we're actually coming into our, I guess we'll say like 36 hours away from December 1st, which is pretty crazy that we are coming into December, man. This year's really flown by. But yeah, let's dive into it. There's definitely some fundamentals at play this week. And I'll kind of share some stuff that I shared with my team about like this week, what I'm really focusing on as far as pairs and really what I'm just going to kind of be waiting on the sidelines for and really not being aggressive with on certain assets and pairs. But we'll kind of break it down, starting off with fundamentals, right? Everyone should know that the first Friday of every month, NFP, jobs reports for the U.S. Markets and for the Canadian markets. So what I'm really anticipating coming into this week is, we do have, hey, what's up, man? How's it going? What we do have this week is a couple of things. I'm very interested to see what Federal Reserve Chairman Jay Powell is going to be talking about tomorrow. Really not going to influence me too much because I should be done trading by that time. But I am curious to what he's going to say and what he's going to spew out of his mouth. The market is definitely going to react to it. So definitely, if you are going to be in the markets, make sure that you're protected at some point there. The only other thing that I'm really focused on is going to be Friday. All right. We do have a little bit of inflation numbers coming out month to month on the Swiss franc, which really isn't going to move anything. And we have ISM manufacturing Thursday morning, which is going to move indices. And that's really it. There's nothing really outside of that. Now, I am going to be watching tomorrow morning New York session. The change is really not going to be something I'm going to be focused on, but quarter over quarter GDP and the job openings are two things that is really going to show us the precursor to what the jobs report is going to show on Friday. All right. Kind of what I've talked about last week and just what I've been watching on the dollar index for a while is if we are going to continue bullish, the jobs report coming out Friday is really going to be the catalyst on what's going to happen, whether or not we manipulate the market, sweep liquidity, go higher, or if we just completely collapse and start to short off. And if we do at that point, that's where I'm going to start hedging my positions on US dollar crosses. All right. And I'll kind of go through there and show you what I'm kind of looking at from there. But yeah. Okay. And that's really it. I mean, for this week, the big things for me that are going to be Friday. And of course, what's going on Wednesday, tomorrow, New York session. With that, has anyone really paid attention to what is the driving force in the market right now? And there's a couple of pairs that I'm looking at, right? Does anybody know what's going on with the China markets? Anybody at all? Nope. Nobody? Huge protests in China. Yep. COVID. Yeah, they're going back in lockdowns, right? COVID lockdowns. And there's protests. So what happens when you've got lockdowns and a bunch of protests going on? Supply chain issues, right? Exactly. What major currency is directly correlated to the Chinese markets? Yeah, where you cheated, man, because I told you about this yesterday. Yes, the Australian dollar. Australian dollar is extremely, extremely reliant on Chinese trading. All right. So it is not the JPY. It's actually the Australian dollar. What else is, yep. So we've got the perfect storm. We've got China markets that are really showing some deteriorating. And what else do we know? What commodity also very closely correlates and influences what the Australian dollar does? Yeah, absolutely. Gold, right? What's the gold? Anyone know what the gold market's doing? What's the gold market doing? Anybody who trades gold, what's it doing? I'm not talking about what it's doing on a 1 minute chart either. I mean, overall, what's it doing? Over the last couple of weeks to months, what have we seen? It's selling off, right? So gold is bearish. Chinese markets, right? Bearish. What should we be doing with odd pairs? Absolutely. So for me, AU is on the top of my food chain. Because AU is, so is NU, because the Kiwi is very correlated to what the Australian dollar does. And then, of course, ACAD. ACAD's another one that I'm very much influenced by. Why? Because ACAD's been bearish for all of 2021 and 2022. So looking for shorts on that. And believe it or not, this morning, a newcomer came in and we were looking at HF. And I haven't, for those of you guys that were on my morning call, I'm sure some of you guys were surprised by some of the pairs that I was looking at, because I was looking at EA, looking at GA as well. But I said this morning that I was really focused this week on the old Australian dollar. And that's what I really wanted to focus on. All right. So HF, ACAD, and AU were at the top of the food chain for me. And it was based off of fundamentals that's going on right now. All right. The US dollar is not the driving force in the Australian US and Kiwi US currencies right now. It is all Australian dollar. So even though US dollar is sideways, potentially accumulating, and I'm not even focused on EU or GU, I can be focused on AU and NU, because based off of the correlating assets that we have, I'm not relying on anything, any dollar strength to move this market bearish. All right. So just a little bit of like fundamental tidbit there. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's get into this. All right. So we'll start with, we'll start over here with the dollar index. Why is it correlated to China? Because their economy is greatly dependent on Chinese imports and exports. Yeah. Their biggest supply chain is directly correlated to China, because it's the closest large market to them. So when there's supply chain issues in the Chinese supply chain, it greatly influences the potential outcome for GDP. For, I mean, even think about the GDP that Australia produces is still predicated on supplies from China. So, yep. Why not GU? I thought it wasn't correlated with DXY. Not correlated. You mean like, do I correlate dollar index to GU? I do not. Correct. I do not. Bear with me. I'm just opening up my Discord. Okay, there we go. Anyway, so on dollar index, this is what I talked about last week, right? I had said that we're going to be here for a while. If you go back and you look at every major reversal, we've spent days in here, days, right? So right now, I think we're at the 2-week mark. We're at the 2-week mark. I really want us to do one more, potentially even a shakeout to do something like this. Let's go blue. That's ideally what I want to see. I feel like we're just going to be here sideways at least till Friday. There's really nothing that's going to influence this outside of Friday's price action. I think tomorrow when Powell speaks, I think if we're like up here tonight into tomorrow New York session, when Powell speaks, it's going to cause it to go down. We'll rally up tomorrow night, and then NFP maybe gives us the spring that we do something like this, right? That's ideally what I'm expecting. If it doesn't go that way, I just want us to completely collapse. And if we do collapse, then I'll start hedging my positions on redistributions. All right. But where we're currently sitting at, I was anticipating us coming into this area. We're here now, and we're just accumulating. So that's ideally what I want to see happen with dollar index. Yeah, I mean, with EU is going to be the same exact thing. I'm not really interested in trying to do anything with EU. EU for me is just going to sit here. We're just going to sit here and go sideways until the dollar index decides it's going to do something. Okay. I'm not interested in GU either, and strictly because the pound is driving GU markets right now. All right. And right now, the pound is in an area where I want to see the sell off. You could see I was actually looking in this area right here. I'm not, why? I don't know why TradingView keeps moving my alerts. There we go. I'm not going to be looking for GU to do anything on the GU front until we trade below this low right here. That's when I'll start getting in. Or I want to see if we can get a little higher into this price action right here. But I'm pretty sure based on what I saw in here that we're going to continue lower. And if we do, I'll play pullbacks or continuation move. But we're a ways from it. And I'm really not interested in doing anything with GU until we get past Friday. Friday, I feel like we're going to get some serious manipulation. And that's what I'm going to wait for to see whether or not I'm still with the bearish bias out of order flow, or if we're going to come back up and start trading out of actual structure, which is going to be up here. If that's the case, I'll start hedging my sells, because I'm still holding a ton of sells in here, ton of sells in there, sells in here, and sells in here. So I'll start hedging my sells. And I think I actually even got some in here. I'll start hedging my sells so that I can buy up and take volume off the buy. But GU for me is still, I mean, I'm still bearish on it, but I'm going to wait a little bit. JPY top down. If you're bearish, you're good. Can't look at it, bro. Let's see. I can't look at it, bro. Oh, there you go. Now it popped in. All right. Wait a minute. Is it CAD we're looking at, or is it JPY futures? I guess this is all CAD. Yeah, this isn't, I mean, we can label it different. I mean, this for me isn't my intraday. Something from 12 years ago isn't going to be my intraday, but you're right. This is a distro. Only problem is this distro hasn't done anything. This here holds nothing for me. It's holding order flow or lower time frame structure. Give me a sec. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting for us to get up here. I'm actually looking at the 121 level is where I'm waiting for us to get up to, but I don't feel like we're going to short from there. Yeah, I don't feel like we're going to short from there. So lower time frame structure is from down here. Yeah, so that's my lower time frame. That's my order flow in here. That's my order flow leg. And yeah, I mean, we're in an active distro. This is why all my JPY crosses have been on my secondary list over here. Because until it figures out what we're gonna do. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, we're an active distro here. So, but for me, I'm not going to start selling this because I'm pretty confident this is going to reaccumulate. All the yen crosses will eventually reaccumulate. It's just a matter of when. And it's all based off the bias of what the JPY is doing, right? There's no reason for JPY crosses other than mitigation for us to come lower. So, is this the correct analysis on GU? I don't know what the analysis. You got to explain your analysis. I don't know what time frame this is. I don't know. Yeah, man, this is like the barest of bearish charts. I don't even know where prices are. I have no idea where prices are. I couldn't tell you what this is. Yeah, man, I have no clue. Is that a distribution? No, I don't think that's a distribution. You got a redistribution here, and you got a redistribution in there. Your distro is up top. If this is your distribution, this here really suck at giving you evidence that sellers entered the market and filled sell orders because it was just zero volume in sell orders. But yeah, I honestly, I don't even know what time frame this is. Could you show me how you would mark it from the top down? On what? TAJ? The only thing I'm concerned with on CAJ is we're in this leg. So when we come into this right here, I'm going to pay attention to it because that's going to be potentially where we're going to get a pullback. The fact that we've taken out this move right here, this is the only thing I'm concerned about is this leg right here. So we've traded back into demand that caused this break. So for me, we've gone, this is going to be your higher time frame leg potentially. This right here is the only leg I care about. I don't care about anything else because it caused this break. And this was the accumulation down in here that did it. I said the 1 hour and its current price action, but that makes sense. I'll make the chart have more info in the future. Yeah, I mean, what happens? Let me ask you a question. Like when you journal this, when you journal your chart and say you go back to this chart 6 months from now, like what do you do with it? You know, like other than knowing what the numbers are, I don't even know if this is GU or not. Like this will be, I mean, what happens 8 months from now when GU is at a different price point? I don't even know that this is GU. So I don't know it's GU. I don't know what time frame it is. Yeah, I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. But for me, this is going to cause me more work when I want to go back and review this than anything. Yeah. All right, cool. All right. So anyway, GU and EU, I'm really not doing much with. What I am looking at is AU and NU. So we'll kind of go through what I was looking at today, what I'm looking for the rest of the week, and what entries like we actually did work into. I'm a little disappointed too that I missed US 30 today, but it is what it is. She missed me by a point. All right. So we all know AU is bearish as can be, right? So coming into this, we'll just get down into a normal time frame. And what I was anticipating was the sell-off today. We are starting to see that price is trading back into our supply point. We did get our distribution. We did see our weakness. Now, the only thing that I really wanted to see was coming back into this price action or this price action. I wanted a schematic. I'm still 100% looking for continuations to the downside. And today during New York session, it just didn't give me anything. I mean, it was not clean at all. So once we did get this manipulation, I was kind of waiting for us to come back into it, and we just never did. So unfortunately, there's nothing for me to do at this point until we do one of two things. Like what I need to see price do is I want to see price tonight during Asian and into London, trade down, make a new low, and then come back into this move here. So ideally, what I would be looking for is come down in here, and then we trade back up potentially to New York session from today, and then we short off. And what I would be waiting for is just a plain old schematic somewhere in here. That's ideally what I want to see. But I need us to take this low because I need us order flow to continue to the downside. And what I don't want is I don't want a clean accumulation in prior demand that broke lowest form of order flow. So when looking to take an entry, what areas do you measure with the fib to build confluence? Everything, the manipulation, find all the manipulations and find confluence with them. This is the website that helps with fundamentals. You can see why AU is tied with China at the bottom with their exports and imports to each other. Oh, cool. Yeah, man. Yeah, awesome. Who runs this? I'll look into this. Yeah, man. That's a good little thing. There we go. I'll save it. I'll look it through it, peruse it. I know we look for 3 pushes plus a spring UTAD to confirm a type 1. Is there anything else you look for to confirm a schematic other than it took out supply demand and where we are in the market cycle? So yeah, I mean, you first got to understand where you are in the structure. And then you have to understand the market cycle, like you said, go off of cause and effect. And that's just to get to the point of interest. That's just get to the box. And then from the box, now you have to validate your schematic. So you have to ensure that you have to answer the questions. So like if we're looking for a distribution, you need to validate that it's a seller driven distribution, not buyers. You need to validate all the points of the schematic, right? It's not just, oh, I found the UTAD and let me mitigate the UTAD. No, for me, I need to validate the entire schematic. Once I've validated the entire schematic and I can check off that all of these are good and that I can validate the schematic, now it's me getting into the entry. And now I've got to go through my confirmations and verify good to go, pull the trigger. So, yeah. I'll tell you right now, the biggest mistake I made early on was not validating the schematic, because you get price action all the time. And I know a lot of people can attest to it. You get price action all the time that if you're a pattern trader, you just put a pattern on and you're like, oh, okay, this is a distribution, but you've got to validate the price action. You're looking at ACAD swing shorts. Yeah, so am I. Yeah, I mean, that ain't going to happen today, but yeah. On ACAD, I mean, we did trade into the area I wanted it to. Yeah, we traded right where I wanted it to. This is it right here. I was going to see if we were going to make something out of here. Oh, let me go blue. Make something out of here. When we broke this high, I wanted us to sweep this high, which we did, and that's all I needed to do. This for me is not a point of interest. What's the point of interest for me is that's my SC and this is my extreme. So if we can get up a little more premium, yeah, I agree, man. Yeah. What's up, bro? How's up? Why not a POI? What do you mean, why not a POI? That manipulation is still unmitigated. Yep. Yep. I agree. There's a ton of manipulation still unmitigated though. Right. For me, the SC is important. Yeah. It goes back to cause and effect. All of this was just noise. All of that is noise. For me, I don't care that we've traded above here. I don't care that we've traded above any of this. When we broke, and I thought I had this marking. I don't know what the heck. Maybe it's on the daily. Nope. Yeah. When we broke this low, when we broke that low, the only thing that I really care about was this part right in here. Or we come into 80%, right? I mean, this thing is still unmitigated up here, but I feel like if we get up here, it's going to be a shift in momentum. And I think it's going to continue to the upside. So I want to say that this is going to be the high. I think this is the weekly, the monthly high. The only problem I have is there ain't a lot of evidence that sellers came into this market. So I'm not a fan of the volume that came in, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see what it's doing. Oh, look at all chefs selling off. What's up, bro? How's it going? Bro, tell me you caught one of these moves this morning, man. Tell me you caught one of these moves this morning. I think I'm at sitting at 2% on that verification. I think. I don't remember. Okay. But yeah, so on ACAT, I'm totally with you. I'm looking for the shorts. And for me, what I'm going to wait for is what makes a manipulation valid for you? Oh man, I don't know. So what makes a manipulation valid? It has to, well, I mean, characteristics of a manipulation would be showing the intent of the market cycle. And then what's the whole purpose of a manipulation? To confirm the bias? That's the purpose of a manipulation? No, come on. What's the purpose of a manipulation? So why are they sweeping liquidity? To mitigate sweep or fill imbalance? No. Let me ask this again. I'm the trader at Morgan Stanley trading AuDCAD. Why do I have to manipulate the market? There you go. Fill orders. Yes. Fill orders. That's all it is. The trader doesn't care about sweeping liquidity. He doesn't care about filling imbalances, right? The whole reason, why is there an imbalance? Let me ask you a question. Let's break this down, because I think this is something I struggled with in the beginning, because I took everything at face value from people, and I truly didn't understand. Why is there an imbalance in the market? You don't know why you said that. Well, screenshot that. Why does the market create an imbalance? What do you guys think? Because I'll tell you right now, this when you really understand what is actually happening, and not, like what somebody has said, well, the market, I was taught that smart money, the market has to come back to the imbalance to mitigate it. And when I asked why, we'd go next question. So what's the purpose? Why, how do we, or what's the reason that we create imbalance? Lack of buyers or sellers in that area. You got to be a little more specific than that. No, you guys are overthinking this. Let me ask you a question. When do you see manipulation? It's not aggressive buyers or sellers. No. Just think about this. Think. When do we see manipulation? For imbalance, you mean? For imbalance, you mean aggressive buyers or sellers? Well, okay. I mean, but what do you mean by aggressive? Like I'm a type A personality. I'm an aggressive person. So if I'm an aggressive buyer, that means I'm creating an imbalance in the market. Liquidity grab, news events. No, just think about simplest terms. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask this. Can anyone tell me on a chart the last time they saw a manipulation that wasn't part of a schematic? Pressing buy and sell hard. I love it. And that's for candle imbalance. For imbalance, resupply and demand, well, it's price value, no? Okay, so yeah, but it's still going to be the same thing, right? Usually happens before a directional shift. Let's go back to this. When was the last time you saw manipulation that wasn't involved in a schematic? Well, yeah, the Springer UTAD is probably your biggest manipulation, or a shakeout in a reaccumulation or redistribution, right? So the question is, when was the last time, has anyone seen a manipulative move that wasn't part of a schematic? Meaning a UTAD, a spring, a redistro, a reaccumulation, right? When was the last time you saw something of manipulative force that wasn't part of a schematic? Change of character? All right. I'm going to chalk that up to the same thing you said last time. The whole schematic is a big manipulation. Yes. Yep. Yes, you can get one in a mitigation. You can get a manipulation in a mitigation. You sure about that? So what's the whole point of the manipulation? Yes, lower time. All right. All right, Jake, you've confused me, bro. So yes, you can get one in a mitigation. Are you talking about a manipulation? And so haven't seen any manipulations besides a schematic in news. But even in news, it's a schematic. Look at every news event. You still have a precursor to a schematic in there, right? It ain't going to happen. Schematic is needed to turn the market and manipulate. Yes, right. Okay, so let's get back because we went way off topic here, right? Which can technically be a UTAD on a 5 second. All right, bro. If it's a UTAD on a 5 second, it's still a schematic, right? All right. So if we know that the manipulations happen during a schematic, and that is what causes an imbalance in the market, what is the reason that we have an imbalance in the market? Price moved quickly. And what's the reason that price moved quickly? Yes, changing of hands. There we go. Yes, right? In a distribution, the buy orders that were the manipulation get closed out. Think about it in the UTAD. What's happening in the UTAD? The buy order is the manipulation, right? At the moment where the last sell order gets filled, what happens to that buy order? It gets closed out and overpowered by all the sell orders. When price creates that imbalance in the sell orders, why does price have to come back to mitigate the imbalance? Because it has to close out of the buy orders that it's in drawdown. Does that make sense? not difference in value in between sellers and buyers. Don't even, if you think about a schematic, there are no buyers in the schematic. Okay. There are no buyers. It's all seller driven in a true distribution, right? Now, are there buyers from that are smaller players in the market? Sure, but who cares about those, right? All they're being used as is pawns to fill orders, right? Market manipulations are institutional moves to mitigate price to close their orders. Yes. Yes. Can you illustrate what? Look at us. Here you go. Just look at any distribution. Look at what did US here? Hold on. Here, where's US 30 today? Why did I need price to come here? Here's a great illustration of it. Why did I need price to come here? To mitigate this move, right? Okay. Does it need to shake out? No. What's the reason that price is going to give a shakeout of weak-handed sellers? To fill their orders. Correct. What if they don't have any more orders to fill? What if all of their whatever X amount of dollars that they want to put into this market only needs to take it up to 33,880? Then they don't shake out. So when price comes up here, right? When price comes up here to mitigate this move, right? They're closing out of that buy order. So what's the reason that they're going to come in there? Well, we have market imbalance in here, right? We see that price filled a ton of sell orders and gave this push to the downside. Why? Because there's a large amount of sell orders with buy orders getting closed out. So when price comes back up, what time frame is this? 1 minute? There you go. So when price comes back up, I mean, damn, like I call that thing yeah, that I was a little sour about it because it missed my order by 1 point right here. Anyway, what did price do? Price redistributed, built the intent of accumulation so that they can push the market. They're not trying to fake out anybody here. They need to accumulate orders in order to fill buy orders to get the market up here. And then why does price give this huge drop? Because that's where all the sell orders come in. That's what you want to see. You want to see that evidence of those sell orders coming in because that's your guarantee that price essentially is going in the direction that you're anticipating. Because this is a seller-driven redistribution, right? There's no reason for price to accumulate here. This morning, right? For those of you guys on the call with me, I was not looking for any kind of buys whatsoever. I was strictly all sells, and just like yesterday, same thing. Looking for the short after the manipulation. We want to see a manipulation. We get it, sweeps it out, makes the low, and then obviously comes right back to mitigate. Why did price come back to mitigate? Because it needs to close out of these buy orders that are sitting in here, right? The imbalance that's there, that is just an area where price, we know that there are large amounts of orders sitting in there that they need to close out and mitigate. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, bro, I was a little hot, man. Let me tell you, I was a little hot about this, bro. This pissed me off. Same thing with NASDAQ yesterday, right? NASDAQ missed me as well. I didn't get into indices yesterday or today, but I was kind of hoping we'd get back up here today, but we did get this. mean, we did get this perfectly. I mean, what was this? This was yesterday's price action right here. I mean, she did exactly what I wanted to. Where was yesterday's chart? Where's my journal chart? Oh, you know what? I threw it in the trading chat. That's why. Yeah, here you go. This is what I wanted yesterday. So why was I anticipating this manipulation? Right? And why was I anticipating it here into this New York price action? Well, because I know that we need a manipulation to sweep out the highs. Why? Because if they're going to make a major move, this isn't the premium pricing that they want. Right? So I want to see that manipulation. When I get the manipulation, that's when I can do something. And the idea is manipulate up, right? Play into New York, confirm redistribution. Here's your accumulation, confirm redistribution, play the mitigation, we go down. To a T, that's exactly what NASDAQ did, right? I mean, to a T. We trade right back into the slingshot that causes the break. We distribute very cleanly, misses the 50% by a nudge. Okay. Redistributes, and then off she goes. So understanding that intent and why the market has to do something, that's the biggest thing for me. That was like the turning point where I said to myself, okay, you know, I definitely understand what I want to see. I want to anticipate this. And then from there, it's react to price, play the price action, play the mitigation, or the set your orders off the mitigation of the manipulation. You know, TPT is ridiculous. Probably going to have to do that 2-pip rule you said Thomas created. Yeah, 2 pipettes. Add 2 pipettes to your entry on TPT, and you'll be good. I got filled on TPT on Odd Chef. Some of you guys did not, because I threw the 2 pipettes in, man. So okay. Anyway, so let's get back into it. So we talked about ACAD, talked about AU, right? Now, A-Chef is, I'm sure everybody should have seen this. This was pretty clean. And what we were looking at this morning, is this, right? We know the very lowest form of order flow is sitting right here. Nothing has changed about that after this break. All of this is just noise going sideways with it, right? So this is the area that I wanted to see a distro. We got a distro, right? We get a distribution. Out of that distribution, price manipulates. And essentially, we just get Pac-Man, right? We get Pac-Man, higher highs and lower lows. So just wait it out, let it confirm. We finally confirm. After we confirm, we mitigate. So UTAD, test, mitigation. We make a new low. So now we just danced right here forever. So what do I want to see? I wanted to see today, this morning, I said, I just want to see a manipulation of some sort, right? I want to see a manipulation and then evidence that sellers are coming into the market. So we sweep the highs. That's a great form of manipulation. And then once we sweep the highs, we get a beautiful type 1 schematic. So we get a perfect climax to rally, defines our trading range, secondary test. Whether or not this is a secondary test or up thrust, I don't know. It looks like maybe just a shy above it. And then we get a UTAD, right? And in our 4th drive, we get a type 1. So perfect. This was perfect, right? Same thing. Pac-Man, right? Wait for the sign of weakness, which we got. Perfect break of structure right here out of the schematic. Comes back into my 50 and my 80. And then this was the key. That break right there. That break right there was key. And it actually offered a second entry. I just didn't see it. I set the limit and I really didn't get the opportunity to play the redistro, but that's what it did. It redistributed. So you can see once we broke, I guarantee you this comes right back into the 80%. There you go, 80%. And then what do? We distribute again. We redistribute here. Look at the manipulation, right? Manipulation, manipulation, mitigation, break, mitigation. So they should come into 50% of it. I didn't even see this. I was busy doing some other stuff today. Comes right into the 50%. So it actually gave 2 entries. Yeah. Was there a type 1 for you in the redistro? Was there a type 1 in the redistro? Talking about this one here? This one? Yeah, I mean that would have been the entry, right? I think this is where we might come back tonight. We'll see. Yeah, I mean it was super clean. And then yeah, I mean, like I said in the chat, I was profiting out when we got into here. So I took some partials on it. I think I took partials right at 65. So that was a 1 to 12 and I think like a 1 to 7. No, 1 to 5, almost 6. So off the 2 orders, that's where I partialed out. And I feel like we're potentially going to redistribute here, right? So you can kind of see what's going on. Little micro accumulation. They're trying to push this higher. So if this actually does get a little higher, I feel like they're going to come into this. And that's where I'd be looking like Frankfurt, London price action. Yeah. When am I writing the 80% book? Man, I know. Yeah, I mean, this is just typical, Asian, Sydney Asian. I mean, just look at how this looks. So I am curious to see where we're coming. I am going to put my alert though in here because this was a really clean entry. And it's got a lot of potential to the downside. So yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, it was super clean. And even coming into this, I mean, like what did I take? I took Odd Chef, I took gold. So this week I've taken Odd Chef gold, and SPX. And I'm sitting at, I don't know, like close to like 2% in just partials. Like I'm still holding profits, but just partials, what I've secured is 2%. So yeah, not too shabby. Okay. So A Chef, yeah. And bigger picture, right? I mean, like, what am I doing? I'm trying to target new lows with this, right? I want to send this down, take out that low. Because if you look bigger picture where we're at, I mean, it supports it. This thing is bearish for days, right? This thing is bearish for days. I don't remember who asked me if that was a good buy area, but no, it was not. Yeah, okay. So that's all Chef. So I think that's the AU. Let's see. So we did AU, ACAD, A Chef. EA is another one. I know a bunch of guys caught EA. I personally did not trade EA. So I've been waiting a long time. I mean, we've been waiting in here for a long time. So what do we have here? So an EA, just following order flow, right? Beautiful micro distro that happens in here at Frankfurt, right? Mitigates the manipulation. So if we come here, gotta love the 80s, man. Hold on. There we go. What does price do here? Manipulates, right? Sweeps out the highs. That's my UTAD. And what do? After all these lows and this break of order flow, we come right back to what's maintaining the leg. And we tap right into that 80%. And what do? We send this down and break the low. And then all you had to do was just come in here to find the entry. I don't know. Did anybody actually grab this? This was a super clean distribution here. As soon as it loads. Wow. I think it's only when I'm doing this on Zoom, man, that trading view just goes to crap. Yeah. I know Thomas caught it. Yeah. Thomas had been waiting on this for months. Bro, trading view is unreal right now. There we go. Anyway, there's your schematic, right? There's your schematic. So not only do you have this schematic with this being your UTAD, you have the micro in here where you have 1 drive, 2 drive, 3 drive UTAD. So even off the 50%, that's a 6-pip move. When drawing the fib for entry, what areas of price action do you measure to build confidence to take the entry? All the manipulations, bro. Every one of the manipulations. What's the manipulation in a distribution? Could you give a list of what? Of the what do you mean? Can I give a list? It depends on the price action. Yeah. In a distribution, what's your manipulations? Think about it. In a distribution, what are your manipulations? All the buy orders, right? No, you guys are thinking of it by looking at a chart and saying it's got to be the UTAD. No, I mean, you've got, that's your manipulation. That's a manipulation, right? And those are your two. Yeah. You've got to look at your chart. I can't give you a list because what happens if we have another price action? I mean, heck, there's times where I may have 5 or 6 fibs, 5 or 6 items that are fibbed out because that's the manipulations. Yeah. So you measure the whole move of the schematic and the manipulation itself, such as I measure the whole move. I find the full volume candle. I try to find where the most voluminous part of the orders are. What else will I do? Yeah, I mean, you've got to have more than one reason to take the trade from that specific price point. So find the confluence. So the whole move, if the whole move lines up with, say, like the 37-minute candle, and the 15-minute candle line up, that lines up with our slingshot of the 12-minute candle and the full redistribution that's in there. That's all confluence. Yeah. I'll tell you right now, it's not, you're not gonna have a book that you can say A plus B equals C. You've got like, this is a mystery, right? This is like a murder mystery that you have to take evidence, be a detective, and if you think about what trading is, and this is what I've told everybody that's in my group, trading for me is 2 things. It's critical thinking and it's problem solving. Work the problem, think outside the box, try to identify what their intent is and what they're trying to do. If you can come to those conclusions, you can build a high probability setup on how to enter the market safely and with profit. Yeah. Even if price isn't in your overall point of interest, would you play it lower? If price is not in my, so if price isn't in my POI, would I play it lower if it gives a schematic that fits your bearish bullish bias? I don't know, because if it's not on my POI, I'm not looking at it. So my answer would be no. Most of you guys know, right? If my alert doesn't go off telling me that we're in the POI, I don't know that there's a schematic there. So I don't take it. Um, um, wait, even if, I mean, okay. So what do you mean not specifically the 50 or 80? My point of interest is not the 50 or 80. My point of interest would be the price action. Like if I'm just going to put a fib on it, it's got to be above the 50%, or it's got to be into the slingshot. So it's got to be into the price action. Now, I had a limit on US 30 on price action today, but took it off after we seemed like an accumulation. So the question I have is why are you looking at buys in a bearish market? What reason do you have to go on a 5-minute chart and look for buys in a down cycle after we just confirmed redistribution here? Yeah, does that make sense? Like think about it. You're in a down cycle market. You're in a redistro. You've just distributed here. You've just, what do you anticipate? The whole reason why I was waiting for price to sweep these highs and play into here, I knew price needs to accumulate. So it did. For me, it was 4 drives. That's 1 drive, 2 drive, 3 drive, 4 drive. So you're right. This is a sign of strength. I need that sign of strength to happen because that, when it breaks this low, becomes my shakeout. And that was my entry. So yeah, absolutely. Can you share your chart session times? So it depends. Like what session times are you looking for? Because I have a couple of them. Yeah, I have a couple of them. Specifically, like which ones are you looking for? So which New York? Do you want equities or do you want currency market? So 8 to 5 p.m. Eastern is New York. Frankfurt is 2 to 3 a.m. Eastern. What else? And Asian, for me, Asian is 20. Well, hold on. 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. is what I put, because then Frankfurt takes over. And then London opens at 3. Okay. Yeah, I got you. That's sign of strength. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not a sign of strength because what did it do? Like if you're going to call that a sign of strength, what did it do? It traded into supply that caused this break. Goes back to old cause and effect. Yeah. Yeah, you got it. Not buys. I'm saying that after the 3 drives, the sign of strength, then the break, wouldn't that be a redistro and the distro at the top not be valid anymore? What manipulation did you get here? Yeah, what kind of manipulation did you get there? So if we look at the chart, let's go over to US 30. As soon as it loads. So when we're here, just look at it. I mean, why is that your sign of strength? And where's your schematic? For me, there's my trading range, my climax to my rally, secondary test in B. There's my spring. That'd be my SOS. So what did this manipulate? Nothing. I mean, we traded right back. We traded right back into, shoot, maybe it did come into like 80% of that. Hold on. Huh. There you go. So what did it manipulate? For me, nothing. I wanted the manipulation. So when I'm sitting here, and where's that chart? When I'm sitting here and I'm watching it at 8:59 in the morning, half an hour before New York Open, what are some things I'm looking at? Well, I know at New York Open, we're going to get a manipulation. So where's the manipulation going to happen? My alert is set right here that says high taken. And what's the purpose of the manipulation? Sweep out weak-handed sellers so they can fill more orders and mitigate this move. Why does it need to manipulate? It doesn't need to manipulate. You're right. It doesn't. You're absolutely right. What's the point of the sign of strength to mitigate? No, the sign of strength is not to mitigate. A redistribution has a shakeout, not a mitigation. It can, right? It could be a type 2. But I don't trade non-manipulated moves because I don't know if we're ever going to get the manipulation. I know when we do get the manipulation, I'm going to play the mitigation. So the way I trade, I play the mitigation. I always wait for a manipulation. So if I'm looking for US 30, I'm not looking to trade something that comes into here and then goes lower and then trying to take this because there's no manipulation. What I'm waiting for is a manipulation, come back into here. I had my limit order out of this and then break the low. So for me, I'm not very good at guessing what's going to give a manipulation and what's not going to give a manipulation. What I am good at is recognizing when we get a manipulation and how to mitigate it. So I go off my strength, right? My strength is identifying when we get that manipulation. Okay, now I know where we're at. I know where my line in the sand is. I know how I'm going to trade it. Outside of that, no, it's a guessing game for me. And I'm not good at guessing. All right. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. So going forward, let's see. So we talked about the alt chef. Talk about gold, right? Talk about gold. I haven't traded gold in a long time, but I did get into 2 positions this week. Actually, 3 positions. So let's go to out here. Wow, this is getting old. Come on. Good night. Okay, so gold. There we go. So what did gold do, right? Gold came into the POI, right? We broke the low. This is the order flow leg, right? Here's my 50 and my 80. So we're in the box. What am I waiting for? A schematic. So as we come into that price point, now it's me just watching price action, right? You got to watch the price action and you got to follow the confirmations. So I know a couple of people did catch this last week. We have a distribution. We have the reaccumulation, right? What causes the break of the reaccumulation? It was this redistribution, right? You've got a distro with a, right? It's ultimately a redistribution, but this is the cause, right? This is the cause. So point of interest for me is this all day, or we're going to come up higher. Okay. So after we broke, right? After we broke, what I was looking for is, well, what actually happened in this price action? So if you come back in here and just look at this sucker, there we go. So if you look at it, what does she give you? She gives you a really, really clean. She gives you another Pac-Man, right? Higher highs, lower lows. But she gives you a really clean distro. Okay. That distro breaks. We then redistribute. That redistribution was the mitigation. So if this is your UTAD, that's your test. Mitigates 50% of the UTAD. So what I wanted to do now was I wanted to either price come back into play this. So this is the 80 and the 50, right? That's the 50. This is the 80. Or it's going to come back into this 80. So what I ended up doing was I put a little bit of risk on this 80 and a little bit of risk on this 80 up here. All right. That was my thought process in seeing if we could get price to come back up into that area. And lo and behold, that's what we do, right? You could see that there we go. So this is my price. This is my point of interest, or the 80. I wanted the distribution. All right. And what do we get? We get a long drawn out distribution, right? Why did I take, or why did I have that limit here off the 80%? Because that's Asian highs. And I know that nothing really lasts in Asian, right? So anybody that was looking to trade out of this, my condolences, right? That's why I never trade out of Asian highs or Asian lows unless it holds structure. So it would have been different if this would have been sent down and would have broken the lows, but we didn't. So what I wanted to wait for was the manipulation above Asian highs, which lo and behold triggers me in right off of that position. And then what we get in there is we get a micro distribution. We get a micro distribution that I was able to take a really nice entry off the 50%. And again, you can see I just partialed out when we made the new low. Coming back into our point of interest, right? Measuring the whole thing out, coming back into the 80% of it. I don't have the 80% up, but if you look at it, we missed the 80% by like what? 1.5 pips. Actually, no, it's more like 10.5 pips, right? This is gold. We missed it by 10.5 pips, still in the point of interest. What do we get in here? We get a super, super clean price action, right? Where's our manipulation, right? Our manipulation starts right here. That's what took out the highs, right? Did we violate supply to the left? No, we did not. Instead, what do? We break down. We distribute out. Look at the sell orders coming in. Pay attention to all of the sell orders, right? The distros, the sell orders. So what do we want? We want a mitigation. I was going to look, this is what I wanted to look at right in here. I wanted to get a schematic. We never give anything, but price comes up, taps right into my 80% order that I had in today, and then gave a really, really nice schematic that just misses. Did anyone get filled on this? Just misses my limit. Just a super clean type 1. Yeah, super clean type 1. There's your manipulation. That's your mitigation. And then what does price do? Price comes back, and I was kind of hoping that we were going to get some kind of redistro to do something like this, but never gave it. All right. But gold gave, like I said, I think I'm in 3 positions on gold. Gold gave a really nice clean price action. And now I won't do anything with gold until we make this new low. So potentially this will be the redistro, right? I want to see maybe like Frankfurt or London sweep the high and then break to confirm a redistribution. But gold was super clean. We talked about it this morning, but really, really clean price action. And gold has a lot of potential because where do I want to take gold to? To last week's. I want to start partialing out in here. And then ultimately, I want to see if I can ride this all the way down to the 1530s, because that's where I feel like gold's going, right? You look at silver's doing the exact same thing, but this has a lot of potential. Remember, we came in, right? We came in to the 80% here. That's my target. I want to send that down here, right? That's a huge move. I won't take another sell until we take the low. Yep. And for me, it needs to take that low. Yep. And I'm pretty sure it will. This will be Asian. Like I said, we sweep up, sweep out all that, break. So at that point, this becomes my slingshot. That distribution, that limit order goes back on. So I'd have my limit order up here, and then I'd wait for a distro out of this to keep shorting this. Yeah. Would you still leave the limit from the highest 80, which didn't get mitigated if we come up, or you talking about that one up here? The higher one. Which higher one? Which higher one? Talk about this one here. Yeah. So let me ask you a question. If we do this right now, how many times have you seen price reaccumulate? Look at how long they've been here. Right? When you look at how gold reverses, it doesn't do it in 5-second schematics, right? It does it in very, very clear, elongated schematics. If we break this high, we've reaccumulated. And if that happens, I'm not a betting man, but I'd bet money that we're going to go and take out the high. Okay. So no, this to me is not valid anymore, because we have now distributed. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to have an accumulation with a sign of weakness that then does this. And then what we call that is our shakeout. And now we're in the upcycle because we're in an accumulation and a reaccumulation. Would this be up here? Would that be valid? Yeah. I would want us to reaccumulate and then show signs of distribution up here. Yep. Got it. Yeah. So that's gold. Yeah, gold is looking pretty good. It has confluence with my AU and ACAD and A Chef shorts, so I like it. Took a loss on NU today. Why you wouldn't take this trade? It was a type 1 that I thought held the order flow leg. So I guess my question is, you're still bullish, aren't you? I mean, we had the right point of interest, but did you wait for a price action? Or did you just throw a limit on it? Yeah, but what order flow is it holding? You're bullish. Look at this. You're bullish. I mean, I guess that's where you're going to have to define your rules. I only set limit orders on legs, right? So if it's the order flow leg, if it's a structure leg, and it holds, like we cannot go higher or lower from that price point, then that'll get a limit because it's the line in the sand. But let me ask this question. Are you now, because you broke this, are you now bullish on NU? You'd be bullish for it to go higher, but what has all of this done? Nothing, right? This is a large, for me, this is a large schematic. That's why this alert is here. Because when we break that, this becomes my UTAD right here. So all of this means nothing to me. These highs and lows, right? How many times have you seen price do that? The old Pac-Man. So yeah, I mean, I was looking at the area. You can see I still have my alert there, but I needed a schematic here. I'm not going to take a limit because it doesn't hold anything for me, at least. You know, okay. You think you're having trouble validating schematics? I was only really looking for the 3 pushes up and a shakeout. And you said that there was a major turning point for when you validate. Yeah, you gotta read the price action. Figure out what a schematic is and what's going on in it and validate it. It's not just 3 pushes in a manipulation. Because if that's the case, all you are is a pattern trader, right? You're not a price action trader. You're not a Wyckoff trader. You're not understanding what is actually happening in that schematic. So yeah, I mean, you want to. I mean, I'll tell you this: it's hard. I mean, you can. I'm sure there's a bunch of people in this group that can attest to it. That it's difficult sometimes. Like it takes a lot of skill to really start to develop and understand not only what you're seeing in the price action, but what you can prove. That's the biggest thing: is what you can prove is happening. I say it all the time. It's what are the facts? And I'm sure there's a lot of you on here that are in my group that what's the one thing I always tell people? I go, don't look at the chart. Just tell me what we can prove. Can we prove sell orders that we have a first, phase A is complete? Can we validate phase A? Do we have a change of character? Does that change of character have a deeper retracement from our preliminary supplier, preliminary support? Yes. Well, what's that indicate to us? That indicates to us that there's more volume in buyers or sellers coming in. Great. I don't need a volume indicator. I don't need any of those fancy indicators to tell me that. I could just look at the chart and see that. Now we got to go into phase B. And the most important part of a schematic is phase B, because that's telling you the commitment of those players involved, whether or not they're filling buy or sell orders and how they're filling it. You want to see clear and decisive reactions. You want to see clear and decisive orders being filled. If you can't see the orders being filled, my suggestion, stay away from the schematic. And then lastly, box it out. You're either going to go into phase C with one of two things, right? You're going to get the manipulation, the UTAD or the spring, or you're going to get the major sign of weakness or the major sign of strength. That's how you know you're in phase C. And then from there, you're just going to mitigate. So yeah, I would definitely spend time learning how to validate it. Looking at your journal, I've noticed that waiting for a break of structure is a higher probability, which makes sense. Yeah. I'm going to start a t-shirt line. What's my saying on breaks of structure? I always say it. What do I say? Oh, nobody's going to say it now. No BOS, no trade. That's how I look at it. It could be the greatest schematic in the world. If I don't get the BOS in it, I'm not taking the trade. Yeah. You usually use the main Wyckoff homepage. I have no idea what that is. Yeah, I mean, you can, if you haven't read Rubin's 2 books, definitely read that. But I would start diving into Jesse Livermore's books. He definitely does some stuff on Richard Wyckoff's theory. Just Googling Wyckoff schematics, yeah, that's not going to help you much, man. Yeah. You'll get designs going. Yeah, man. I think I'm going to do coffee mugs and t-shirts, bro. Jesse Livermore. Yeah. Just type in Jesse Livermore to Amazon, bro. You'll see his books pop up. Yep. Um, yeah, you got it, man. Yeah, there's only one of him. Man, he's got 5 really good books, but yeah, just pick any of them up. Really good books. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, and I mean, for me, it was just waiting for that. That's ideally what I was looking to do. I'm trying to think what else I was looking at. So UCAD confirmed for me at least the bullishness. I'm sure there was a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of people got tagged trying to short UCAD. I was personally trying to hedge it short just because I wanted us to come a little lower before I bought. Let me ask you, what is this for? What does that tell us? Are you trying to match this up to exactly like that? Is that how you do it? If that's the case, how do you differentiate from somebody who trades Head and Shoulders or a rising wedge or a teacup? Right? You're just a pattern trader. Stop focusing on the pattern. Stop focusing on the pattern and look at the price action. So that would be my suggestion to you. I mean, if this works for you, great, keep doing it. But I personally, I'll tell you this, I don't have this chart in front of me. And I'm like, okay, so this high is that. This high is that. That is that, Like, let me ask you a question. Why is that not your buying climax? Just curious, but why wouldn't this to me is my buying climax? That would be my buying climax. Showing another trader that doesn't trade why I was seeing a disturb. Thanks for looking. Yeah, you got it, man. That doesn't read Wyckoff. That doesn't read Wyckoff. Oh, I got you. Someone who doesn't read Wyckoff. I got you. Yeah, but why? So I'm just curious. Why isn't that your climax? Because that for me is my climax. Yeah, remember what your climax to your rally are. Defines your trading range. It's the first change of character. So this pullback here and this pullback here, this is a deeper pullback. So that's my climax. That's my trading range. That's my rally. That's my secondary test. That's my MSAL. That's my other secondary test. That's my major sign. Well, I don't know. It depends. It depends on what was happening in here. But that could be another minor sign of weakness. We get our up thrust. If we would have broken here, I would have called that my UTAD. But since we don't break, but we do show commitment of sellers, and then we get our UTAD. So, yeah. I don't know if it's a reaccumulation yet. It depends, because remember, you've got to look to see, did this trade into something? It may have, right? It could be a reaccumulation, and then the other thing you got to look at is, where is this? Is this in a POI? Because if it's not in a POI, then you really have to speculate that if there's not an area where sellers are going to come to the market, then I'm with Ivan. And I'm like, reaccumulation. If we have no reason to sell from here, then this is them just trying to get a little bit of a discount in them to get this to go higher. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah. So UCAD, I was going to try and hedge out of here if it gave me a schematic, but it gave nothing. And instead confirmed what I wanted to see, bullishness. So I'm looking at this reaccumulation here first. That's really where I want to see price come into, or I want to see price come into here because this is maintaining our order flow. So UCAD's kind of on the table for me. You know, I want to see if it's going to give me an opportunity to buy this. You know, we'll see. It's got to come down here, and yeah, it's got to come down here. So I do like, if you haven't looked at it, I definitely would spend some time looking at what happened in here because you've got really good confluence. You've got at the 50% of the entire reaccumulation. You've got another reaccumulation, but you know, what did this do? What did that do? What did that do? Swept your liquidity, traded into demand, gave you at the right time, right? London Open gave you a beautiful accumulation. So, yep, I like it. Did you see that black hole tool under magnets? I did not, bro. What? What does it do? It's pointless. If it's, yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you one thing I do like, man. I like, because this has been there for a couple of weeks. When you put something on, like say, I don't know, like say we do this. I like the whole thing when you right click it, you could do visibility on intervals, interval and above, below, or just the current one. Dude, that for me speeds up a lot. I do like that. Does the bottom accumulation not hold anything? What do you mean? Which one? Yeah, what's it hold? Talking about this one down here? This ugly thing over here? What's it hold? It broke the redistro. And what did the redistro hold? Oh, wait, you talking about this on the 16th? No. Wait, October 16th? What, down here? So which one? November 16th. Oh, you talking about this? Yeah. So what did it break? You said it broke the redistro. This. What did this hold? Anything? That's your order flow. Right? I mean, if you think about it, we're bullish here, right? We're bullish here. We break this. So we're here, bearish. We get a pullback, come back into mitigate. Do we get a pullback in here? This is the pullback. Yeah. When in doubt, refer to number 457. Order of precedence. Yeah, this is why I don't play order flow, man. I know UCAD's bullish. So as long as we are not distributing out of here, if we come right back here, I'm looking to play this and I'm just going to take it up. Because I know everybody and their mom is like, I'm going to sell UCAD. I'm going to sell UCAD. Just like they did here. They wanted to sell here. That didn't go too well for them. They wanted to sell here. That didn't go too well for them. They wanted to sell here. That didn't go too well for them. I'm looking for that. So, yeah. Now, I think there's a lot of, what can we use to determine what, well, give me the correlating asset to UCAD. No, not oil. The correlating asset. What are we correlated to? And where you're looking now is that the order flow that broke the redistro cause and effect. So it is the lowest form of order flow. Yes, that is the lowest for that. That is the only area where I'm going to give acceptable risk to. So what's the correlating asset that we can use for UCAD? Nope, not CJ. Yeah, futures. Yeah, absolutely. Anyone know the ticker? The only time we can use CJ to correlate on UCAD is when the Canadian dollar is driving the market. Nobody knows the futures ticker? There you go. Yep. I guess I should make it inverted. What's the, hold on, let's see. Trying to line it up. Does this chart look familiar? Yeah, right. It's a correlating asset. You just got to invert it. So what's it look like? Well, what's it look like Canadian dollar is doing? Is the Canadian dollar looking bullish for us, or is it looking bearish? It's looking bearish, right? I mean, if you think about it, what did I want to see? I wanted to see us at least trade back into here, right? But do we need to? No, we can just redistribute, right? So yeah, I mean that's for me, that's what I use to correlate. Look at futures. Futures is going to tell you what's going on with it, right? The futures charts is actually what they're being traded on. So, yeah, makes sense. So anyway, yeah, I mean, this is everything I'm looking at. I am not looking at yen crosses this week. Those are just there. I'm kind of correlating stuff with it, but really what I'm looking at is Australian pairs, Kiwi pairs, metals, and indices. And I'm going to keep targeting shorts on indices. Yep, that's what I use it for. Find divergence. Yep. Am I still? Yeah, absolutely. I'm still looking at short EG. Yeah. I'm in a position on EG from last Friday. Where is it at? So I'm in this position in here. So I took partials when we broke the low. And yeah, I was kind of hoping we were going to get here. So at this point, I got to see what we're going to do here. If we end up going lower, then yeah, this is done. But you know, yeah, yep. But that's kind of what I'm looking at. Continuing to short EG indices. I'm trying to short them. Gold, I'm shorting. AU, ACAD, and ACHEF, I'm shorting, and obviously the Kiwi portion of that as well. And EA, I'm looking for shorts on EA. GA, I was kind of just seeing if there was something possible that I can take on this. But I'm just not a fan of it. I mean, there is a distro. I don't like the fact that there's no manipulation up here. So to be honest, this is just going to go secondary. Let's get it off of here. Thoughts on EU? Yeah, I'm waiting a couple more days. We're going to go sideways. Just look at the dollar. I'm just planning on it to go sideways. Maybe another 5-6 days. I'll know more after Friday. Yeah. Yeah, and that's pretty much everything I'm looking at. I mean, it's going to be a quiet week. I know NFP's up, so like I'm not getting too aggressive. Like I said, the yen crosses actually all of these except for UJ are going to be on my secondary list. Yeah. But if you're looking for shorts on EA and you're bearish on AU, shouldn't EU sell off even more then? Why would EU sell off more? Yeah, why would EU sell off more? Yeah, you got it. Because EA is bearish, so odd is stronger than euro in that regard. Okay. Odd is stronger than euro. Okay. But what's driving you're confused right now? Yeah, because you're thinking of it as linear. It's not. What's driving the Australian currencies? What's driving AU? Is it the dollar or is it the Australian dollar? The Australian dollar. So the US dollar has no correlation into this aspect. So I guess what you're trying to do is you're trying to find a home for this. Like you're trying to do this. If this comes to here, to that, to this, to this, to that, to that, to that, to that, not everything's correlated, right? So we know that AU is bearish because of the Australian dollar, not because of the US dollar. We're bearish on EA, right? Why? Because we know that the euro is extremely weak. However, for me personally, am I in any positions on EA? No. Why? Because I know both of these are weak currencies. So I would rather trade something that is a little more definitive or aggressive. That's why AU, right? A CAD, a chef, right? What's the chef doing? What's the Swiss franc doing? Just look at USWIFT, right? If you look at USWIFTs, it's bullish. You look at Chef JPY, it's bullish, right? So I know I've got a weak currency. That's why I decided to play a chef today, and I was trying to play AU. ACAD, I needed to wait on, right? Because we've got Australian dollar weak, Canadian dollar weak. But you got to figure out what's driving the market. So the fact that EU, just because it's a euro pair and the US dollar cross, what is the main driver in EU? Is it the euro or the dollar? You got it, man. Have a good one. Yeah, exactly. So does the euro, like when you think about it, does the euro, if you put here EU, this is being driven by the US dollar, right? We have EJ. Is EJ bullish or bearish? Bullish, right? What's driving it? Is it the euro or the yen? Yeah, it's the yen, right? Okay. Let's look at, honestly, I have no idea what Eurochef is doing. I haven't looked at Eurochef in a long time. I haven't looked at Eurocat in a long time. What's EG doing? Bullish or bearish? Okay. I'm going to really trip you up on this. What's driving the market? So why is this so bearish? You're onto something. If the euro and the pound are both weak, why is EG still bearish and moving with good price action? The dollar's driving it. Yep. The dollar. So just because it's a euro pair, so you come into EA, right? What is driving this market? So just because we have two weak currencies, right? You can't just say, oh, well, because dollar's bullish, EA's bearish, and truthfully on the EA front, that is why EA is so bearish. It's because of the dollar index. That is why EA is so bearish, is because of the dollar index, because it's overshadowing the weakness on the Australian dollar with tremendous weakness in the euro. So the trick to correlating is understanding what's driving it at current price. Because just like I said, you can take UCAD, and when the Canadian dollar is driving the market, you can invert CAD JPY and you can correlate these. But if the CAD isn't driving the market, right? What's driving the market in CAD J? It's the yen. What's driving the market at UCAD? It's dollar all the way. So the CAD is really null and void. That's why the CAD being so bearish, right? The CAD being so bearish, you'd have like UCAD that's bearish. You'd have ACAD that's bearish. You'd have, UCAD being bullish. You have ACAD and NCAD being bearish. Well, how if the CAD is so bearish? Well, because these, right, are not diametrically opposed. This is what's driving this market. You just have to figure out what's driving that individual market. Now, hopefully that makes sense. I'll tell you this, if it's confusing, it took me a long time. It took me probably, I would say, I'm still learning it, right? I'm working on my 6th year, and this is somebody who has extensively studied over the last 6 years, macro and microeconomics, world financial institution, like I've in my spare time, in my traveling and stuff like that, that's what I do is I research this, and start to really dive into understanding the ins and outs of what moves, what correlates, and what really gives a direct relationship to some of these markets. So, yeah, you got it. How do I know what's driving the market? You got to look at the chart. Yeah. You got to look at the chart. You got to correlate them. I mean, some things are easier than others, and look at every yen cross. Every yen cross is bullish. Why? Just look at UJ. If you know what UJ is doing, then you know what the yen's doing, right? Because they're diametrically opposed assets. So if they're all bullish, that's telling you that the yen is bearish and the yen's driving the market. So that's what I would look at. Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much everything I have for tonight. Like I said, I've got a short week. I'm not looking for too much. I'm going to ride coast in. I am actually doing a verification. I passed the challenge like 2 weeks ago for that TFT account. So I'm trying out some new prop firms and figured, now's a good time to do them. So I'm in that verification stage. I should be done, I'm guessing this week, maybe even next week. We'll see. Like I said, I'm up 2% for the week on partials. And, if A-Chef and gold really continue to do what I want them to do, that'll pass the verification. So I only need like a total of 5%. And I'm sitting at, I think, just around 2. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I have. Have I failed any challenges from prop? I failed my first FTMO one that I ever did. And after that, no, I've had redos. Like I've come short, like I've come, like 7-8% on FTMO before and had to redo it. TPT had an 8%. And I think I came way shorter, but I was up like 6.5%. And then I threw like 4% on a trade just to try to get it passed and ended up losing the trade. So, but I've only lost one account. All the other ones, yeah, I've ended up passing. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Awesome. Cool. Well, listen, guys, have a great night. Thanks for hopping on, and see you in the chats if you guys need anything. Have a good one.